Hey everyone, today's video we're going to do 5 great stretches for cyclists. This is actually a follow along session, so grab your mat and join along. Cyclists are notorious for not doing enough stretching, and if you don't stretch it's going to lead to poor posture, potentially injury, it can give you lower back pain, so we don't want that. So doing this session regularly, I recommend just after you've ridden your bike, is a great way to go. So let's jump right into it. The first exercise we're going to do is a simple quad stretch, and we're going to do that on each side for a minute. I generally like to do a minute on each exercise, and then if you're feeling super keen, you can re-watch this video and do it 2 or 3 times over. So let's get started. Okay, so we've got 1 minute with our left quad. Don't worry if you can't get your heel into your bum straight away. I'm almost there. The important thing is to do stretching regularly, and you're going to see that improvement. It's like cycling training. If you don't do it regularly, you're not going to see the benefit of consistent training. It's the same with stretching. You've got to do it consistently. So we've got about 30 seconds. And then we're going to switch on to our right leg. Seconds. Okay, woo, shake it out, and then we're going to go for the right leg. It's a good thing as well as we're going through this to kind of make a mental note of maybe you're tighter on one side than the other. Just have a think about how everything in your legs are feeling as we go through these stretches, and you can focus more on one side if you're particularly tight in a certain area. So for me, my right quad is always tighter than my left quad. Okay, that's stretch number 1. So moving on to stretch number 2, we have got the hip flexor. So to get the hip flexor, you want to go in a kind of warrior style pose and then bend your front leg. If you want to increase the difficulty, you can lower yourself down, and also to make it extra hard, if you want to go further, you can tip out your right ankle, and that really gets that hip flexor. So we're going to go for another minute here. We're often in this seated position, so by really opening up the hip flexors, it's great for pretty much everyone. And we're going to shake that out, and we're going to go for the other leg. Okay, and we've got another minute here. I like to kind of use yoga type breathing when I'm doing stretching, because it also helps me relax, and it makes stretching a lot more enjoyable, I find. And as I'm sort of breathing in and out as I do my out breath, I'm imagining kind of stretching even further. One thing I would say as well whilst you're doing these stretches is try and have good posture with the rest of your body. So pull up from as if there's a string from the top of your head. Okay, shake that out. Woo! Okay, so next up we have the glutes. For me, this is an exercise I find particularly difficult. So a lot of people do a glute stretch like this, kind of pigeon leg, but for me, I find that I'm able to get much further if I go on my back, put my leg across like this, and pull in like that. We're going to do a minute on each side. Okay, and let's switch over. And that is the glute stretch. Next up, we're going to do the hamstrings. So you can do this with a resistance band lying on your back and you pull your leg up. Or for me, I actually prefer to do it with a chair. So grab a chair or perhaps the edge of your sofa. And what you want to do is place your leg on the chair, keep a straight back and angle forward. I find this is the best way to stretch your hamstrings without getting your back involved. I feel like if you're reaching for your toes, the tendency is to bend the back, which obviously makes it look like I'm much more flexible than I am. So by having your leg on a chair, you're really just isolating the hamstring. Okay, and switch onto your other leg. Okay, here for another 30 seconds. 15 seconds left on this one. So the final stretch we have is calf stretches. You can do these up against a wall, and by leaning in, you can alternatively do them against the chair. Okay, and switch to the other leg. So your calf actually has two different muscles in it. It has the soleus, which is the long muscle that comes up from here, and you have the gastrocnemius, which is this kind of big meaty part of the muscle. So at the minute we're getting more the gastrocnemius, but if you do have tightness in here, if you're doing a bit of running as well, it tends to get tight in your soleus. If you want to adapt this stretch to hit more on your soleus, all you have to do is bend this part of your knee. Often people do this against a wall and they will try and reach their knee to the wall until they get the stretch, and that's going to stretch more the lower part. It doesn't tend to be something that gets tight on cyclists, but for runners, if you're a triathlete, definitely a good shout. Thanks so much for joining along with me for this stretching session. If you want to get a bit more stretching in, go back to the start and re-watch this video as many times as you like. I would recommend stretching whilst you're warm, so straight after you've done some exercise is the best time. But that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, smash the like button, subscribe for more cycling content. I bring out new videos every single Friday, so don't miss out on that. And if you enjoyed this new type of video from me, let me know in the comments down below. Keep risking it for a biscuit, and I'll see you next Friday.